This is Radar for On the Radar Entertainment Blog, coming to another edition of MLB Observations from the 2021 offseason going into this year's 2022 season, Hotstove edition week 20. As last week, I recorded two videos because when the lockout ended, there was so much that happened within a week. More stuff is happening because spring training is abridged and they got to get everybody into camp. So first things first, Marlins claim Yohan Lopez and DFA Monte Harrison. Harrison hasn't proved to be a good major league outfielder, so he'll probably bounce around to another team. Lopez will just pitch for the Marlins, I guess. Marlins did sign Delano Shields to minor league deal to join Robin Quinn, as they're not sure what their outfield is outside of Avi Garcia, and now them signing Jorge Soler to having two DHs in the corner spot, along with Garrett Cooper and Aguilar at first base DH and the outfield. Delano Shields can play center field. That will help them out. Matt Carpenter signed a minor league deal with the Rangers. They're going all in. They signed all these veterans, as I mentioned last week, to minor league deals who can start, relieve, or backup. If Carpenter makes the team, he can see at bats at first base, second base, third base, and DH. Red Sox signed Derek Holland to minor league deal. That's good for them because he can be a swing guy, he can spot start, he can relieve for you. The Rays acquired outfielder Luke Raley from the Dodgers. That's again a piece the Dodgers didn't think they needed, and the Rays can probably turn him into a very good, useful piece for them, like they've done with Brett Phillips and Randy Arozarena, And they all had to give up with his Tanner Dodson, but then Chirinos goes to 60-day DL, so they're down one starter. Dodgers picked up Tyler Anderson. Again, he has been a starter and a reliever in his career. That will help them out because if they have injuries in the back of the rotation, or right now without Kenley Jansen on their team, they need some relief help. Both Jack Flaherty and Reyes are not going to be ready for the opening day for the Cardinals. Their ace and their closer, rookie, who was an all-star last year, they're both going to miss time. That's not good for them because pitching is going to probably be their weakness this year. As I mentioned, the Braves signed Kenley Jansen to a one-year deal. That makes them have a good bullpen with him and Will Smith and all the other, middle relief pitchers the Braves have had that most people never heard of. Like, that's going to be a good move for them because they're just defending World Series champions and they get themselves an all-star, probably going to go to the Hall of Fame eventually closer, and it weakens their biggest competition in the Dodgers. That's a good move there. Padres picked up Ian Crow on a minor league deal. The journeyman relief pitcher will probably see time in the Padres bullpen this year. Tigers signed Michael Pineda because their rotation is a bunch of young guys. I could definitely see him starting some games if he's healthy. He hasn't been the most healthy in his career and was busted for PED, but I could definitely see him starting a bunch of games, and if the Tigers are not in the playoffs, they could definitely flip him at the deadline. Diamondbacks cut Zach Birdie. The former Sox pitcher can never stay healthy, so that makes sense. Red Sox have re-signed Hanzo Robles, but this time it's a minor league deal. Again, Red Sox starting rotation and bullpen are going to be their weakness is pitching. So Robles is a former starter, but he's been a reliever the past few years, and the Red Sox will just probably didn't want to pay him a guaranteed deal, and he'll make the team probably have spring training as a reliever. Twins have picked up Carlos Correa on a 5-year deal, but he can opt out for the second year. I got to say this. I don't get you Twins. You trade your starting catcher in order to get Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. You then go, yeah, we don't want Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, so we're going to trade Josh Donaldson, Ben Rovert, another catcher, and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa just to get yourself Giovanni Urshela, and then you go out and get Sanchez. So basically you traded two catchers to two separate teams to get a catcher. You traded away the shortstop you just got to get another shortstop, but he's playing third base, and then you go out and spend all this money on Correa. I now see why they traded Josh Donaldson. When the Yankees took on the whole entire contract, they had the money for Correa. I just don't get why they needed to go and do all these moves. You could have just signed Correa and traded Donaldson to somebody else. But that's going to be good for them because the middle of the lineup, he's definitely going to be a power hitter in the middle, and he's improved his defense over the past couple of years. Him and Polanco and Giovanni Urshela and Miguel Sanola say is your infield. Not a bad infield. Nicky Castellanos has signed a 5-year deal to play left field for the Phillies. With Bryce Harper in right field, Castellanos in left field, I'm like, cool. But then last week, they also signed Kyle Schwarber. And the reports is Schwarber's going to play left field, and Castellanos will play right field, left field, and DH, and even first base, and take some starts away from other people. I got to be over this. Castellanos at least spent time in the minor leagues playing the outfield before he became a major leaguer. The Tigers just threw him in right field and never tried him in left, and he's been an outfielder really well the past couple of years. You say Schwarber has been, but Schwarber's really a DH. He is not an outfielder. That I would rather him DH and have Castellanos play left field. Braves picked up Phil Gosselin on a minor league deal. It's a homecoming because he started off with that team. And again, him and Arcia, just utility guys because Camargo's gone. They needed somebody. Twins have signed Joe Smith. This dude has made a career out of starting off like a lot of pitchers do, the starting pitcher. Not staying healthy, becoming a relief pitcher, becoming a lefty, become like a specialist relief pitcher, and then bouncing from every team on a major minor league deals, but the dude's never been healthy. So he parlays that into, oh, this guy's talented, but every year he's not healthy. Twins put Kenta Maeda officially in the 6th DL as he's recovering from Tommy John surgery. So I can see this helping the Twins bullpen because it's not the greatest bullpen, so it's a good thing there. Reds have signed Sam McWilliams to a minor league deal again. They're not going anywhere, so this is organizational depth or guys that you could just flip at the deadline. Cubs have picked up Drew Smyly. Drew Smyly was with the Cubs years ago when he was rehabbing Tommy John surgery on a 2-year deal and never actually pitched for them because they traded him to the Rangers. As I mentioned, the Cubs have a few young pitchers who were starting the year in the DL, like Alizoe, and Brad Weeks. So a few of their younger pitchers are starting the year in the DL. So they've signed a lot of guys to help out Marcus Stroman and Kyle Hendricks. I'm not sure if Drew Smyly is going to actually be in the rotation the full season or if they're going to make him a relief pitcher, but that's just a good move because this guy was really good. He helped Team USA in the World Baseball Classic. I remember him pitching. That was really good. The Braves also picked up Pat Valakia. That's a useful backup utility infielder who's bounced around from team to go with Phil Gosselin. It's a good move. Phillies picked up Austin Wynn on a minor league deal. It's a guy the Sox could have signed a minor league deal as a backup catcher because the White Sox need a backup catcher. Sorry to go local there, but with the Phillies, if JT Realmuto misses time, that's not good, but you at least get yourself somebody who's been a major league catcher. Nationals signed Jace Fry to a minor league deal, and the dude can never stay healthy. But when he was healthy, he was a very good relief pitcher with the White Sox, so I feel like he can make the team out of spring training or even eventually this year, and then flip him if he doesn't work out. Reds signed Kyle Zimmer. A long time ago, he was a starting pitcher. His brother is Bradley Zimmer of the Indians, so Kyle Zimmer has been mostly a relief pitcher for the Royals. As I mentioned, the Reds are not really going anywhere, so I could see him making the bullpen and being a cheap guy that they could trade at the deadline. And Rays signed Ryan Healy to a minor league deal. This third baseman played for Seattle and Oakland and then went overseas. So he's trying to come back to the major leagues, and the Rays are looking for like a guy who could play corner, infield, outfield, DH, so he can maybe make the team. And again, they always know how to take guys and make them useful. Unfortunately for the Nationals, Carter Kieboom is going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks with a forearm issue on the 6th DL. Looks like Mikael Franco, the minor league contract, they signed him. He'll definitely get the first crack at third base. I'm surprised they don't even try Kieboom back at shortstop now that Turner's gone. As I mentioned, Marlins signed Horace Soler. It's officially a 3-year deal. Him in the lineup with Avi Garcia and Jesus Aguilar and Brian Anderson. It's not bad. Really not a bad middle of the lineup there. JB Bukauskas is going to be out on the 60-day DL with a teres tear. I don't know what a month teres is, but a teres tear, like it's a part of the body that I actually not know of. Diamondbacks picked up Wilmer Defoe on a minor league deal. I could see him getting a lot of at-bats because they are unsettled at third base, and he could be a good bench player, and they can always flip him. Yankees signed Marvin Gonzalez to a minor league deal, and again, they just picked up Isaiah Falefa, who's not a natural-born shortstop. They already had Gleyber Torres playing second base. Looks like DJ LeMahieu's got to play first base or third base. Donaldson could never stay healthy. So I could definitely see at some point him making the roster, and he's experienced playing the outfield when the Twins made him a right fielder and a left fielder. Phillies re-signed Ronald Torres to a minor league deal, and Joe Girardi loved him in New York as a backup, so of course he loves him here in Philadelphia. Keep bringing him back. And again, if injuries happen, this guy will be a useful backup utility infielder. Giants have DFA'd Austin Dean, the first base outfielder. With all the moves that happened, the Giants obviously don't need him on the roster. Red Sox have officially signed Trevor Story to a 6-year deal. I like Trevor Story. He's a great offensive player who you can bat in the middle of the lineup. He's become a pretty good defensive shortstop. A lot of people thought, nah, he's not. If you look at the metrics, he's been pretty good. But the Red Sox have Keke Hernandez at second base, Bogarts and Devers on the left side, and Bobby Delback at first base, JD Martinez at DH. And I'm just like, what do the Red Sox need? Chris Sale's not going to be healthy. Evaldi never stays healthy. And they brought back 40-something-year-old Rich Hill, and they also signed Paxton, who's probably not going to pitch till the second half of the season. You're looking at like the Red Sox. Most of the starting pitchers they have, there's injury questions. Or they got some young guys who you're not sure about if they're actually going to turn out or not. Tanner Horrick and the other guys. And it's just like, I would rather spend money on starting pitching. The question is, what starting pitcher was out there? Jonathan Gray, Clayton Kershaw, there's a few guys. Carlos Rodon, there was at least a dozen or so major league quality starting pitchers that were out there. that they probably could have signed for and split it into maybe one or two guys, sign a reliever or two because their bullpen isn't also the greatest. So it's not that Trevor Story's bad. I just don't get it because now you'll throw Hernandez in the outfield, where I see projections, and then shifting JBJ to right field. The only reason to acquire Jackie Bradley Jr. is to play Gold Glove caliber defense center field. He's a horrible hitter, so to make him your right fielder, make Duran a backup, and Verdugo in left field when I rather have Verdugo in right field, it's like, yeah, I don't get it. There's a lot of moving pieces just to accommodate another bat in the lineup when the Red Sox strength is their offense. That's where I don't get it there. Braves have also added a third infield player, Brock Holt. Speaking of the Red Sox, Brock Holt has played pretty much every single position in the Red Sox. Even though he's an infielder, they had him learn how to play all three outfield spots. He's played first base. Again, between him and Phil Gosselin and Pat Valakia, the Braves are really good at the backup infield spot. Giants have signed Taylor Williams minor league deal. If he's healthy, that'd be organizational depth for them. He can pitch out of bullpen. Reds picked up Albert Amore on a minor league deal. As I mentioned, Nick Senzel's not a really center fielder. He's an infielder. Shogo Akiyama can't play center, but they like him in corner, and Aquino is more of a corner guy as well. So Almora should probably make this team out of spring training as at least a fourth outfielder to start, but then at least he would be the center fielder because he can actually field his position. And then the Braves picked up Brad Brock and Nick Vincent a minor league deal. After already getting Kenley Jansen, let's sign former All-Star reliever Brad Brock and longtime reliever Nick Vincent, who's had some good success from teams here and there. So again, beefing up the bullpen when you already just signed Kenley Jansen. Good move by the Braves there. Mariners signed Ryan Butcher to a minor league deal. I can see him making their bullpen out of spring training. And if they're not in the playoffs, they can definitely trade him at the deadline. Red Sox have brought back Travis Shaw on a minor league deal again. I don't see where the heck he's going to play unless he's in a straight-up platoon with Bobby Delback. But that's for, Alice Cora to decide if they want to do a straight-up platoon that way. And Jose Barrio is going to be out of the 6th week with a hamate injury, so that's not good. The Yankees have claimed Yohan Ibar, bullpen depth. Casey Sadler, unfortunately, going to have season-ending surgery, and that's not good for the Mariners, and because for him, pretty much, that's one of their better relievers. And unfortunately, for the Reds, they can't catch a break. Luis Castillo is going to start the year hurt. Justin Dunn, who they just got acquired, is going to start the year hurt. And now this Barrero dude. That's not good for this team because they're not really going anywhere. Mariners have also picked up Andrew Albers on a minor league deal. So him and Butcher will be good bullpen pieces, and Albers already been there. Billy Hamilton's on a minor league deal. Even though Jake Fraley's already out in Cincinnati, this team has way too many outfielders between Kyle Lewis, Trammell, Jesse Winker, Mitch Haniger. They got the prospect Rodriguez. So I'm just like, yeah, this team has way too many outfielders. I don't see Billy Hamilton playing unless there's a lot of injury. Marlins have signed Richard Blyer to a 2-year extension. That's good for them. Shane Baez, unfortunately, is out for 2 to 3 weeks with orthopedic elbow surgery. Nationals have picked up Hunter Harvey. And again, if he's healthy, he's a good enough relief pitcher that if he pitches well enough in the first half, going back to the greater Washington, D.C., Baltimore area, they can just flip him at the deadline. Diamondbacks claim Caleb Barger. That's good rotational depth. He could be flipped at the deadline. Twins have claimed Jan Romero. And Randy Dobnik's official in the 6th-day DL. Pirates have claimed Packy Naughton. And the Rockies have sent a Ryan McMahon to a 6-year deal. So they locked up Ryan McMahon after winning a Gold Glove at third base. And signing Iglesias to play shortstop. And I'm just like, okay, so Hampson's going to play center field because you got Iglesias as shortstop. Are you going to play Ryan McMahon at second base? Or Brandon Rogers going to play second base? Because you just signed Chris Bryant and you keep Chris Crone. So is Chris Bryant going to play left field and you're going to DH? Or you're going to DH Chris Crone and play Chris Bryant at first base? Because I don't want to take off McMahon off third base after winning a Gold Glove, and he's a good two-way player. Especially when we got Charlie Blackmon, Tapia, Sam Hillard, Daza. They got so many outfielders. That's where I'm just like, yeah, I don't get that move. And then I don't get the move of Chris Bryant, but I do get the Ryan McMahon. When he wins a Gold Glove and he's a great offensive season in the last couple of years, that's what you want to do. Now, the last moves I want to get to are the Diamondbacks have signed Oliver Perez to a minor league deal. The thing about Oliver Perez is he announced that this will be his last professional baseball season because he's going to pitch in the Mexican League. But hey, the Diamondbacks said, hey, do you want to come play for us? Even though we signed a bunch of veterans to major and minor league deals for the bullpen just to patch it together, and they're not a playoff team, so we're most likely going to just deal you at the deadline to another team. He's like, yeah, I'll sign up for that. He's pitched a long time. Reds have signed Brandon Dury to a minor league deal. Again, the Reds are not going anywhere. Because they might Moustakis and Jonathan India, second base and third base are kind of covered. Sorry, Drury, and with Joey Votto, Moran, first base DH is covered. And then I said they got some holes in the outfield, but that's where Almore can come in and plug one of the outfield holes. So Drury probably won't play for the Reds unless they start trading more people and they need guys who actually play in the big league. Padres have signed minor league deal with Thomas Eshelman. The veteran relief pitcher will definitely help out the Padres if they need help in the bullpen as rotational depth, and they can always, if it doesn't work out, you just let him go. And Astros signed Adam Morgan to minor league deal, a former Philly Cub reliever. When healthy, that's a pretty good reliever. The Astros are trying to fix their bullpen up because it used to be a strength of theirs, and now it's okay. That's why last year at the deadline, they traded for like 3 to 4 relief pitchers by trading their starting center fielder to get Phil Maton, which was really stupid. And the Marlins have signed Grant Dayton to minor league deal again. Probably see him making the bullpen, pitching well enough to get traded at the deadline. And the Cubs brought back Robel Garcia. He left a while ago, and now he's back. Again, Cubs are not a playoff team, but Robel Garcia is a super useful utility player. Thanks for listening to Week 20 of the 2021 offseason leading to this year's 2022 season. Hotstove Edition Week 20. This was Part 1. Stay tuned for Part 2.